Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the last video I will be posting for this WandaVision context series. For this last one, I really just wanted to do something kind of extra where I go over the intros that started off each episode, the commercials that might have confused people, and I want to rank the episodes myself, give you my own personal opinion on them, and I will also provide for you some next steps on what to expect next from Wanda herself in the MCU. All right, let's get right into it. I would like to just put a spoiler alert in case you haven't seen any of WandaVision, but if you have, this won't apply to you. So let's just get right into it. So, episode one intro, basically, what each of these intros did was kind of relate to an actual show from that TV era. And this first episode, the intro you could kind of see a correlation between that and the intro to the Dick Van Dyke Show. So you had Vision going through this seat right here, and over here he would fall over it, and that's kind of the main thing that you see that is similar between the two. On to episode two, where you could see the intro for both this episode and the typical Bewitched episode are very similar. They're both cartoons. Moving on to episode three, this was a pretty obvious one that a lot of people catch is the font and the layout at the end of the intro is the same between this and the Brady Bunch. And episode five, not episode four, just because that was kind of mostly about Sword. This was Family Ties, and there's a mainly with the family photo is what people might recognize if they've seen Family Ties. Episode six, this weird kind of lighting in the whole intro, and the fast pace is, I guess, supposed to look like Malcolm in the Middle. And finally, episode 7 intro. The ending was supposed to look like Modern Family, and really the whole filming technique used throughout the episode was supposed to be like Modern Family. And if you listen closely to the song in the WandaVision intro, it was, I think it sounded like The Office, is what a lot of people picked up from it. It was just like a weird techno version of it, is what it sounded like to me. All right, let's go on to the commercials. So these were just in the middle of most of the episodes, and they each have some reference or allusion to something else in the MCU. So we started off with this toaster right here that was made by Stark Industries, and I guess these were supposed to be commercials that Wanda developed in her head. And she knew Tony Stark, so that's why this was one of them. Episode 2, this commercial, well, obviously because Strucker experimented on her for years, they had this watch, and Agent Strucker over here, he again was that Hydra Nazi agent, and yeah, that's what that's a reference to. And this one was pretty obvious for just about any typical Marvel fan. You have Hydra soak and the Hydra logo, which was, again, the Nazi organization kind of. And yeah, it doesn't get more obvious than that. Episode 5, Lagos. Lagos is actually the city where Wanda kind of made a mistake where she was trying to contain an explosion, and she couldn't, and it killed a lot of people, and she felt horrible about it. And this is somewhat what led to the Sokovia Accords and the Avengers Civil War. Episode 6, Yo Magic. There's not much to this. It was just supposed to be, well, Wanda has magical powers, and that's what that correlation is. Episode 7. I'll explain this. what a nexus event is. It's something that's not really supposed to happen, and they go a lot of that, and they go a lot into that in the Loki series, and basically a timeline will split, and that's a bad thing. Um, but yeah, it was used as like a medical commercial in WandaVision. All right, now for my personal ranking of the episodes. This is completely subjective. Um, some people's list might be similar, some are different, and that's fine. But this is kind of how I critique them. Um, in the first one, the S tier, I put the Halloween episode. I just like the addition of Quicksilver. I like the comic accurate costumes and the ending. The very last scene where the reality was expanded, I found that to be very intense and intriguing. Just below it in the A tier, or basically second, I'd like to put episode 5, which was just before the Halloween episode. Again, mainly for the intense scene where Wanda walks out of the reality and confronts Sword, and is just a pretty lighthearted episode overall. And I like, well, Vision finally shows a bit of rage, and that's the first time I saw that in the MCU. Episode 4, I think this is an unpopular opinion. I also put that in the A tier, just behind episode 5. I just like how much it clarifies a lot that I was confused about at first, and it connects the real world to Wanda's show, and I just like the detail and how complex they made it. B tier alone in it is the finale, which I thought as a WandaVision episode was very good, but as a finale episode, I didn't think it was too well done, and a lot of people would probably rank it lower. But yeah, I still like it. C tier, I put episode 7 down here just because of its modern touch, and its comedy effect is kind of all it had with breaking the fourth wall. Well, that's literally what the episode's called. But yeah, it didn't have much to it besides the comedy and how much it reminded me of The Office, I guess. Episode 3 is also in the C tier, and that's when Wanda's dealing with her pregnancy again. It's not too it's not too great of an episode to me, but I still like the ending. It was um, it made me very it made me excited to see what came next. Um, People would expect this, like, black and white episodes to be down here. Like episode 1, it was all right. It was a good setup for the whole show, and I I can't say I really like that era of television, but I guess that's just because of the generation I'm in. And but yeah, it still had its moments. And D tier episode 8, yeah. I did not really like it at all. It was just very boring and slow paced, and I already knew a lot of what it what it explored in Wanda's past. I know that's not how it is for everyone, but for me, it was just mainly a waste of time. I don't know, and I guess same thing for the E tier, which was episode 2. Again, it's a black and white episode. I'm just not into that era of television, and not much really happened. It was just a talent show that they entered, and it didn't serve. It didn't really give the show very much like the others did. Like, it didn't accomplish much of the plot or much of what was important to the overall WandaVision plot. But yeah, that's my episode ranking, and feel free to create your own if you want and see how we compare. Um, but yeah, that's how I feel about the show overall. All right, so I'm going to take you through some next steps, just kind of what to expect from these two credit scenes. Hopefully, you saw them at the end of the finale. But if you haven't, just pause the video and go back and watch them. Monica, she's about to meet someone important. I have no idea who it is. All I have to say is just expect her in a future Marvel project. And Wanda, right here, she wishes to, well, she's escaped the reality and she wishes to understand her power. So she's reading from the Book of the Damned, and she also wants to understand the multiverse and how that works. And then she hears her boys screaming for help. You'll detect that once you've seen the end credit scene. But yeah, she will be involved in the next Doctor Strange movie. She's gonna supposedly, I guess, help him out with whatever he needs help with. But the multiverse, somewhat her fault, is kind of out of control. But yeah, that's just look out for Doctor Strange in case you ever see that. That's her next appearance. All right, that concludes probably, I think, my last video on WandaVision. I really hope you enjoyed the show. I can tell you I did. And the next show I will be kind of explaining and guiding you through it will be The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which takes us to the lives of Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes, who were both affiliated with Captain America. But yeah, that's going to be my next series on this channel, on this little Marvel thing I'm going through. So I hope you watch that. I think you'll like that show as well. But yeah, thanks for sticking around to the last video, and I will see you for the next show.